Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. For the video today, I wanted to sit down and do a makeup first impression on some products that I've picked up recently. This is the Covergirl Clean Fresh line. So I have the foundation, or the Skin Milk, which I know came out overseas earlier, a fair bit earlier, but we only got this in Australia about 2 months ago, I'd say. And I also just recently was able to get my hands on the powder and also the concealer as well. So again, these might have been out overseas for a while. I've definitely heard good things about the powder, so I'm sure that was from people in the US, but it just recently came out here. So I decided to pick everything up and give it a go. Admittedly, I'm not someone who normally uses Covergirl, even though obviously about 2 years ago they did become cruelty-free, which is awesome. I just hadn't reached for their products since, but I want to see how these go because they could be my new favorite sort of thing, or at the very least a good option for myself and anyone else who of course wants cruelty-free products from the drugstore. I guess I just like the look of this line in particular because it's got cute pink packaging and I've genuinely heard good things about it, but I still wanted to give it a go myself on my skin. I am a little bit of a paler person and I also tend to lean a little bit oily, so I thought that my experience using these products and my review might help some of you out if you're in a similar position. And with that being said, I'm just about to start doing my makeup for the day. I have already just done brows and also stuck on some demi strip lashes. So I had a little bit of makeup to start out here, and I don't have anything on my skin yet. I've just done my skincare for the day, which was simply washing my face, putting on some moisturizer and sunscreen, which are things that I always do, whether I'm going to work or having a day off like I am today. And then now I'll just be going on to makeup. So I don't have any primer on, and I'm not going to use any. Normally I would use primer if I'm going out for the night or have a really big sort of full-on day, but these sort of products I don't think I would use on a day like that, so I'm just using them as I would for a regular day. I'm just going to open these up. They're all sealed and everything since I haven't had a chance to try, and these days, because everything comes kind of without testers available, which is understandable, it's going to be interesting to see how I go for the colour match. Now right now in Australia, again I'm just speaking from my experience here, there weren't too many skin tones that I saw available. I think this fair light one is obviously the lightest. On me it might be a little bit dark, or I don't know how we're going to go oxidizing, but I think there was this and maybe 1 or 2 darker shades, which obviously there's really not much choice. Again, I don't know if it's different in other countries, but that's just one thing I noticed. And I think I maybe saw 1 other powder shade. There might have been a few more for the concealers, but there wasn't heaps, and maybe it's different depending on the shops as well, but I just grabbed basically the lightest in everything. I have the Clean Fresh Skin Milk here in Fair Light, so I'm just going to put that on with a damp beauty sponge like I normally do. I'm just going to put that on now. Might actually shake it up too because I don't know how long it's been sitting on the shelf for. I get why they call it skin milk, it does seem quite runny. While I apply this, I'm just reading the back. It says that it's vegan and formulated without talc, parabens, formaldehyde, blurs imperfections, evens out skin tone, and it's sheer buildable coverage, which I can tell already. That's just a light application on roughly one side of my face here, and I feel like that's evened me up a fair bit and just reduced the redness, which I have in spades. I've just put a bit more on my sponge and I'm going to do the other side. It's got a very familiar smell. It doesn't seem scented, it just smells like makeup, but it makes me think of makeup that I maybe had in my old like dance kit when I was doing ballet and stuff. Like I don't know if that makes sense. It smells like older makeup, not like it's old and bad, but it's got a bit of a nostalgic scent, I guess you can say. Although I wonder, maybe I was using Covergirl back then. Perhaps they will smell the same. So this is just 1 layer all over. I actually think that looks pretty nice. I might put just a little bit more on my cheeks here where I feel like I need a little bit more coverage, and then of course I'll be going in with the concealer and powder. I like the fact that it feels really light. I'm not sure how it'll wear obviously, and I'll check in throughout the day, but I don't really have any foundation like this. For a while I was using BB creams, but I've kind of given up on that sort of thing. These days all I really have is just very heavy coverage foundation. Okay, so I think we're done with the foundation for now. And again, that was really just one coat all over and then a little bit on my cheeks where I have a little bit more redness and scarring. But now what I'm going to do is use the concealer, and this one is in the shade Fair Light again. That one does seem like maybe a little bit darker or more peachy toned than what's in the bottle here, but I guess that makes sense just for brightening up under the eye. It's just on a little doe foot, kind of a small standard size. I'm not sure how I'll go with this if I use it on any other areas of my face, but under the eyes that actually seems like a good colour choice for me. Just to get rid of any of that dark sort of blue under my eye. Also, I feel like it's important to share now before I add in with powder over the top or any more time passes. For the foundation, I feel like it's a pretty good match for me. Again, I'll update if I oxidize. That looks alright. It's definitely more like peachy toned than I normally use for a concealer, but I guess in some ways that's kind of a good thing. I'm not going to go over the top with any more under the eyes or use any other products just because I want to see how this goes throughout the day. But I might, just for the interest in evening up my skin tone, use a little bit of this just on a few key areas where I always need. Just a little bit here, basically on any red spots that are still peeking through. I know this isn't a step that everyone will need to take, but hey, it's something I've got to do every day, so I want to make sure that this will do the job. Potentially this step isn't needed, but obviously this is just a first impression. I say that because I have heard really good things about the powder. People saying that it's pretty good for coverage, quite buildable, and apparently it's got a bit of an airbrushed effect. Alright, I'm getting carried away. I'm just going to stop with that one. Also, in terms of the packaging, any key points, I see that this one says it is hydrating concealer. So hopefully no creases for people. On myself, I don't really experience that, so unless anything crazy happens with this one, I won't have any updates to share on that, but I do sort of feel it. Again, just like the foundation, it felt very light. It didn't feel thick and heavy like a Shape Tape, obviously. It's not going after that sort of coverage, but I do like how it feels on the skin. I do feel like I'm not wearing makeup, so that's nice, especially since we're coming into warm weather in Australia. Now last of all, I've got the powder. So this is the Covergirl Clean Fresh pressed powder. So it's just in there. I do like the fact that this kind of looks like toy makeup. I know it does look kind of cheap. I mean, it's a drugstore product, but I think it just looks like play makeup or doll makeup. So it's kind of cute. But I'm just going to apply it with a brush. This one admittedly does look a bit darker than the other products, so I don't know how I'll go. This one was the shade Light Pale, but I mean, we'll see. I don't know if I'm going to end up orange by the end of this. I'm really just focusing this around my nose, where I know I'll probably get quite oily, a little bit of my forehead and chin, and just gently tapping it over the skin texture on my cheeks because I don't want to drag the concealer and foundation around. Okay, I think that's all I'm going to do. Admittedly, looking in the viewfinder right now, I feel like everything looks pretty even. In the mirror, a little bit less, but I suppose I'm looking on an angle versus in the ring light. But I'm just going to zoom in. So obviously it's not full coverage. This is definitely more of a natural sort of, I guess, light coverage. That's definitely a selling point. It's very light and hydrating, and these are all sort of the buzzwords on the packaging. It says it's dewy finish for this and buildable. So I understand why it isn't as heavy on the face looks wise, because it doesn't feel like that. Alright, so I found my receipt and I've got all the prices here, and these are all in Australian dollars obviously. I bought this from Priceline, where the prices are pretty standard and nothing was on sale. So the powder was $18.95, the concealer was $15.95, and then the foundation was $19.95. And I feel like for most of the time in Australia, these drugstore brands prices are pretty standard. So I know that might sound expensive or very different if you're in another country. Probably sounds cheap compared to New Zealand, because I know you guys are even more expensive and burnt by prices than we are here, but pretty standard pricing Obviously the main appeal in this for me is the fact that I can use it because it is cruelty-free and vegan. All the things in this line, or I'm 99% sure all the things were vegan. And I like the fact that they're talc-free as well, which obviously is in a lot of powders. I think it's just kind of a cheap filler product, and there's obviously some health concerns for that for some people. And obviously I've said it before, but I'll say it again, I do genuinely think that these products look super cute. I love the pink and the white and also the foundation sort of skin tones that you can see inside there. So I think that these just look awesome. Hopefully all will continue to go well throughout the day, but of course I'll update when I have anything to share, and I'll see if I can get a little bit of footage outside as well when I have a moment, just to show you how everything looks in natural sunlight as well. But I think that's it for me for the start of this little first impressions, and I will check in with you in a little bit. Alright, so it's a little while later. I'm just doing little tasks around the house, and I thought that since the sun is out, I might just show you. I know that obviously everything looks a lot different to inside, and I don't know how clearly it's showing up, but I've seen myself in the mirror, and I think that maybe my face is a few shades darker than what it would normally be with sort of my ideal makeup shade. Is it too bright and shadowy? I guess time will tell. But yeah, I just wanted to share this for more, I guess, accurate representation of how the makeup turned out. But I'm just going to get back to my day, and I suppose I'll update if I notice anything further. Alright, checking in for an update, and I think that I definitely did get a little bit darker over the course of a few hours, maybe like 1 or 2 shades in comparison to when I put it on. But it's definitely not as dark or oxidized as I thought it might go, because I have that issue with a lot of drugstore type foundations, concealers and powders. I feel like it's also wearing pretty well. I haven't added on any more powder or blotted, and I don't think I'm too shiny. It hasn't been a super busy day, but I've been around the house doing things, and the weather's a little bit warm. Plus, I don't think I said, but I didn't use setting spray or anything, and I think it's holding up pretty good. It's not really breaking apart, which I would normally find around here. I think it's going pretty good. So far so good with this little first impressions review. But I'm now going to be putting it to the test because I'm actually going to be going for a walk with the dogs. We're just going to go out to the water and take them for a walk for like 30 minutes or an hour. And I'll see how I go after that, because I think that'll be a true test to see how this sits through a little bit of exertion, and I guess through a bit more warmth and wind and everything like that. So I'm just going to head out and I'll share how everything looks when I get home. Alright, I'm back from the walk. As I was out in the sun, I was wearing a hat. I don't think it affected my makeup, but sunnies. Not too surprisingly, I have some marks here, I think. Let's just see. Pretty standard, just because they were sitting on my face. But I thought, while I've got you, I will just try and see if it will sort of pat out and even up. I notice sometimes certain foundations and powders are a bit better than this, better at this than others. In all honesty, it's the end of the day. I've been wearing this for like 9 hours, but just in the interest of finishing up this video, I'll put on a little bit more powder just to see how that goes, putting over the top of everything else. I will do this from time to time, and I know sometimes certain makeup will smear or just go a little bit funny. This one looks like it's done okay. So I think those are all the things I wanted to test. Overall, I am really pleasantly surprised with how this has worn throughout the course of a day. Obviously, I might have different thoughts after using on different sort of circumstances or for many days at a time, but I'm really happy. I think because especially I haven't used any cheaper sort of foundation in quite a long time, much less Covergirl. I think this worked out really well. Again, I wouldn't normally reach for such a lightweight foundation and powder concealer, but I think it has actually worked out in my benefit because it was so lightweight on the skin. It obviously wasn't thick, and it didn't smudge and smear when I had sunnies on, surprisingly, and it didn't break down as much as a couple other foundations have on me in the past. In terms of the shade, I think it was an alright match when I was wearing it originally, or when I applied it. I think even in this sort of lighting in front of the ring light, it might look like it's a good match now, but when I see myself in a mirror in natural light or just in real life, I definitely am maybe 1, maybe 2 shades darker, like ever so slightly on the face as opposed to the body, or as opposed to the normal sort of makeup I would wear. So that's just something that I'm thinking about. I feel like obviously the shade may work on many other people, and again, sadly I can't speak too much on the experience of going for other shades, darker shades, more mid-toned ones, but from what I could see it looks like there was a small selection, but definitely in the lighter sort of mid-toned skin tones. Overall, I think that this was definitely worth the price, and it's impressed me on a first impression. So I do hope that this video has helped you out in case you are looking at purchasing any of these products. I think, you know, the foundation, concealer, and also the powder has worked pretty well for me, and I've given them all a go, but of course if there's anything that I've forgotten to mention, I will leave it in the description down below or as a comment. But I hope this video helps you out if you're looking at maybe trying these, just because obviously it's not possible to really try anything before you buy it. Hopefully this video helps you out. But I think with that, I'll be leaving this video here. So I just wanted to thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please give me a thumbs up if you did, and subscribe if you haven't already. But like I said, I will be leaving you here, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye!